Oppa Gundam style, and welcome to Wow Cool Robot. This is the last one. We're gonna talk. We're gonna answer your questions. We're gonna rank some robots. It's gonna be good. I'm Julia. I'll be your co-host for the final time. I use she and they pronouns.
I'm your other co-host, Jared. I also go by Jay, and I use he and them pronouns.
I'm your other co-host, Max. I use he, him pronouns. I will still be here after this episode, for what it's worth. The other two, I'm going to eject into space. I can't leave.
It's fine. It's what I have agreed to.
Mm-hmm. It's what I deserve, frankly.
Mm-hmm. I'm already y'all are podcasting from the sort of like Gundam containment pods, and after this episode is over, I'm going to fling this big old rock we're on into the sun.
Yes, there you go.
Maybe a small, polite child will rescue you. Who knows?
Probably not.
Katra, where are you? For those of... I literally almost had for those of listener once again. Jesus.
For those of listener...
For those of you who've listened to the podcast before, you're probably familiar with how these wrap-ups go, which is part 1 is us talking about the show. Part 2 is us ranking robots. And part 3 is the mailbag. I'm going to say it now. This mailbag is literally too big for us to be able to answer all of it in an episode. So what I've done, I've chopped and screwed the mailbag. I've kind of rearranged the questions ordinarily. I do it chronologically. But I basically have organized it so that the more... not pertinent questions. I want to be able to give everyone who submitted stuff a chance to have their questions answered. I want to give a good balance of funny questions to more serious discussions. So when we get to that point... If you submitted a question and it wasn't read, I apologize. Honestly, I'll probably, the ones that we didn't get to, I'll just start answering in our channels in the Discord anyway, so we can still talk about them. It's just too much to do on the air.
Answered, just kill your fellow listener before the next season, and there you go. Less competition.
Yeah, this is a battle royale. By the time IBO ends, we only have so many slots ready.
There you go.
Very, very sad.
Why does our listener count keep dropping? I don't understand.
Oh, jeez. Oh, the metrics keep going down. This is so sad.
Huh.
All right. First order of business, folks. The show. Is it good? Do we think it? Do we think it? Do we think it?
I have all along, and you know what? I will continue to stand by that.
Yeah.
I think, and stick with me here.
Uh-huh.
I think the first 85% of the show is good. The last chunk, not ideal, and then Endless Waltz kind of put some white out on it and cleaned it up a bit to the point where it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have nostalgia for Wing, right? From whatever Wing I watched as a Wii one, I do not remember. So I went into the show blind. And while it is the least of all of the Gundam series I've watched for the podcast so far, again, I've seen 5 counting Wing. It's a B-class series. It's good, you know? I mean, for what it's worth, 0079 Zeta are S-class, and Double Zeta and G are A-class, and this is B-class. B-class not meaning like, oh, it's mid. No, it's good. I like Gundam Wing, except for... when it starts to like fall flat on its face 10 times in a row, but alas, nobody's perfect.
Also, do you think that has to do with the fact that it's so vastly different from the other series as well? Like, we were talking about this a couple times where it's less of a robot show and more of a show about...
So we have a question about this that I hope we can get to, but I think the fact that it's different is what I like about it. The parts I didn't like are when it so heavily tries to ape the original Gundam formula. And admittedly, there are parts of that, that it does well. But when you kind of combine it all together, it became really, really blatant at the end of the show where I was just, getting really tired of it. But I liked how different it was. I liked how it was focused on this, just this sheer level of melodrama that we hadn't really seen. Well, I guess we'd seen it in G, but again... The melodrama in G Gundam is framed so differently than the melodrama in Gundam Wing, right? G Gundam is like, I'm going to punch a hole in the universe to save the woman I love. And the melodrama in Wing is like, I'm going to tear up your birthday invitation and tell you to go fuck yourself. They're completely different levels.
It's a lot more toned down. Like it's not as dramatic overall as like over the top as G Gundam is, for sure.
It almost feels like a soap opera in some parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
A soap opera in space, almost like you could maybe call it
a
space opera,
rock opera.
I refuse.
A sprock opera. But no, I mean, like having not seen this show before, going in blind with a blank slate, I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. Maybe, and again, after I've seen the entirety of Gundam, maybe my viewpoint will be changed because I will have context of like everything else and it will drop lower. Maybe it'll be higher, who knows? But like, I like the series. I think that it could have tried to do things more differently. Again, my favorite parts of the series were when it is like so up its own ass with all of these like betrayals and factional politics.
Yeah.
And if it had
It
more
does
of that,
quite good.
Yeah, and if it had more of that complete fucking nonsense, I would have liked it more. But it's like, I think part of the problem is that it's so tethered to Gundam. It's kind of like, you know, the Star Wars sequels. They're good, but like they're so fucking tethered to the original trilogy that they can't. It's harder for them to do their own thing.
I think that's a pretty good way to look at it. I really I agree with your like general ranking of like putting it in like a B tier, and I'm sure as you go on, you know, like you said, it might go up or down, but honestly, it might kind of just stay where it is.
Yeah,
like it's one of those things where you look back at it and you're like, oh yeah, I had fun, and then you might dip into it again. You're like, oh yeah, I'm having fun, and you're not having like the best time of your life or anything along those lines, but you know, it is what it is, and it's not perfect, and that's part of like the charm almost. It, like a bad movie.
Exactly.
Like they have their own cult following of people who love them because they're bad. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wing kind of falls. It nestles very comfortably into that category.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said the best thing for a podcaster is bad media to talk about, and I wouldn't necessarily say Wing is bad media all the time. It's certainly bad media some of the time, and hell, even my favorite Gundam series are bad media some of the time. But like, I feel like with Wing, we never ran out of things to talk about to make it interesting, and like that's something the show does well.
My favorite bits of Wing, to kind of push the conversation in a little different direction, is the chunky and clunky sci-fi, where they were trying to keep it grounded, but they were trying to also do like, you know, futuristic sci-fi. So you have like clunky old ass computer terminals that are these massive rigs with these huge keyboards, and they run on fucking floppy disks.
Yeah.
And also there are like giant man-made machines that look like humanoids that also run on floppy disks, as we find out towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
But like, it's so hilarious to me, and they never really try to explain it. It's kind of like in 0079, Amuro's in the cockpit and he has like, I think, twin joysticks, right? Something along those lines. It's very much the same with these Gundams. They have just joysticks, but somehow they're doing these complicated ass maneuvers, and you're just kind of like, sure, whatever. And I love that like smashing together of like very hard sci-fi trying to blend with like 90s futurism a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe futurism isn't the right word, but like you get what I mean.
It's hardly futurism because, again, so much of the technology is rooted in what we had in the 90s. None of it is really that imaginative beyond what they had when the show was being made in like the mid to late 90s. But it doesn't...
almost feels like they were adapting it rather than trying to look out into the future. They were trying to see, how would this tech be used if we were at this point?
Right, because...
which I think is actually kind of interesting.
Absolutely, because you think back to the original Gundam series, it's like, there's really, like, there's not a lot of technology that you see that's, like, out of the ordinary. Like, you know, they have the bridge controls on these ships, and it's just, like, a bunch of big keyboards and small screens, and, like, everything is very situated in the place and time that the show's made it. And, like, jumping ahead to Iron-Blooded Orphans, this isn't a spoiler or anything, but, like, characters will walk around with like basically iPads because that show was made in like 2015, like touchscreens and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, from the Gundam I'm familiar with, nothing really goes beyond the time period it's in. But I think because it doesn't do that, it kind of grounds it and really it not only through the design language of the robots itself, which kind of you can definitely tell when a Gundam series is made based on just looking at the robots, but like the technology and everything else surrounding it, you can really tell when it's made. And it's just like Gundam Wing is a thing from the 90s, and that's okay because we're all from the 90s.
True. I mean, the show came out literally the day before I was born, so
a dark portent, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just like I had fun watching it, you know? It's very easily accessible too. Like it's on both Funimation and Crunchyroll now. Like it's very easy for people to watch cuz I know people I'm not trying to call out anyone who listens to the pod and doesn't watch this show, but like it's easy to. It's a 49 episode show. It's 2 seasons, so it's like a bit of a commitment. But like I think it's worth watching.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't tell people to sit down and watch this show, but I would absolutely be like, hey, if you like need something to watch while you're working, hey, if you build Gundam kits or, you know, work on models, if you love doing puzzles, if you love doing something while you have something passive in the background, this is a pretty good show for that because it doesn't demand your attention. And if you pay too much attention, it might piss you off.
If you pay too much attention.
Worse.
Yeah, exactly. If you pay too much attention, you're in hell. It's just like, again, it's the show that well, shit, you know what? I almost want to say it's more valuable watching it without having known about all the other Gundam series because it'll make you frustrated when you realize.
That's me, baby.
You have the benefit of just a clean, pristine slate while I'm just kind of like seething and like biting at the drywall behind you or something because someone said something.
Every time you all mentioned like Char's counterattack, and I'm like, oh, that's nice.
You're just doing Kermit nodding.
I don't think it's the best show to get people into Gundam, but it's definitely an easy show to recommend.
It is. And like as somebody who it absolutely was my onboarding, and obviously is kind of the extent of it right now, outside of watching people build kits and talking to everyone on the Discord.
Yeah.
It's a smooth onboarding.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of its own contained thing. Like, right. I know we've talked about this bit, you and I, that like there's stuff after Wing, but with it being so separate from the main shows, it kind of it feels like it's like an easy way to just kind of plop somebody down in front of it.
And it can be a really good jumping off point as a result. And that's Wing is weird because it's also like it came out in 95, but it also kind of came out in the year 2000, so especially for American audiences, this is the one that, and we'll probably talk about this later, but it might be the one that people think of when you talk about Gundam if they're not really familiar. I'm certain it's the one that my brother would think of, if not G Gundam. And my brother's like 31, so it's just like if you like the robots and you really are just kind of here for that, there are points that we can direct you to. If you really like the like cast and like that ensemble coming together, there are Gundams that do that better than this. If you like the war stories and you want something, you know, more serious and tonal like that, there's a different direction we can point you. If you really like building models and you're enthusiastic about that, guess what? There's Gundam series about that. Like,
yep.
It's almost as if this 42-year-old media franchise has found a way to sort of diversify itself to ensure longevity towards any amount of people, and that fucking rules. Gundam kicks ass.
Yeah, and I kind of got lost in what I was saying, but like Wing is kind of the halfway point for Gundam in almost like a literal sense, because like I mentioned, it came out essentially in 2000 in the US. And so for a wider audience, a Western audience even, it's literally like the midway point between 79 and like 2022, when who God knows when we're getting The Witch of Mercury, but
it's October.
Oh, it is? Okay. Incredible.
Yeah. It's like,
we did get a release date?
October 2022.
I can't read, so that's probably been known for a while.
No, this is from a couple days ago.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad I could break this news to you. What I was going to say is like, this might not be the most sort of productive way to go about saying it, but if I were to like, if you take the average person who watched Toonami back in the day and didn't really engage with anime past then, and I hold up a picture of Amuro Ray and I hold a picture of Hiro Yu and I say, which one of these is the main character of Gundam? I wouldn't be surprised if more people picked Hiro.
Probably gonna point at Hiro, yeah.
And like, you know, I don't want to have to say, hey, watch Gundam, and then bring out a fucking chart explaining all of like the different 7 or 8 timelines of Gundam. Like, that's not productive. That's going to turn people off to it. But with Wing, it's like, this is one series and then, you know, an hour and a half movie set in its own universe, disconnected from literally every other part of the franchise. If you want to get into it without needing to know anything else, like, this is a good place to start.
Also, pretty solid subs and dubs, I would argue.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I feel like this is it was a good time period for it to get dubbed, because you don't have like what 4Kids did to Yu-Gi-Oh! Listen to fucking Pot Agreed if you want to hear me get mad literally every week about that.
JoJo dubs are doing.
Yeah, it's just like,
sorry to be a hater, but the part 3 and part 4 dubs are ass.
It's just like, there's not a more valid way to watch the show one way or another. And I'm not saying it's more valid subs or dubs anyway. Like, I'm not going to get into that argument. It's a can of worms I'm not willing to open. But it's such, like, as far as 90s Gundams go, there is G Gundam, Wing, and After War Gundam X. And I haven't seen X yet. But, like, I think representative of Gundam, Wing is more representative of Gundam as a whole than G is, I would say. Because G's the one where they just do martial arts.
Yeah, G is sick as fuck, but it's also an outlier. Like,
yeah, truly. And that's why it's sick as fuck.
Yeah.
It's just like, when I talk about it like this, I can't help but look back so fondly on Wing. And again, I'm sure my opinion will cool over time, but it's a good slice of history for the franchise, I'd say. I think that's what really it boils down to, you know?
Yeah, much
it's
like,
important.
You know, magma coming to the surface, becoming lava, and cooling off. I think it'll just solidify your opinion on Wing as you go. Hey,
yeah.
Any geology heads out there?
Yeah, you know, I love obsidian, and
I love fucking rocks.
I love rocks. I love chert. I
love silt. I love soft loam.
Basalt.
I love clay.
I'm real loam head.
Yeah, you know, I love garnet and pearl.
Okay, wait, time out here. Okay, Max.
Never seen the show, Julia. All I know is that Pearl hates the Irish. Before we get too distracted, is there anything else we want to say? Because, like, I feel like this is a shorter than average overview, but again, a lot of our questions that we are getting will, like, direct us into more direct topics. Is there anything else we kind of want to say about the show as a whole?
I think I'm good moving on to the questions.
Yeah,
that'll at least angle us in various places.
Yeah, we'll and again, we're active in the Discord. If you want to know something that we didn't say in the show, just ask us.
Yeah, absolutely. Trey's Kushinaga did nothing wrong. Let's go.
The except for Dai, because I miss him every day.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a thing. So, I have every prominent, every important, every worth talking about mobile suit from Wing. And we have a tier list, and we are going to collaboratively put where we want all of these things to go. This is going to be a tug of war, but we haven't had a problem on the pod yet. I know friendships have been ruined because of this fucking thing I do, so fingers crossed it will remain that way in perpetuity.
My only question is, before we get started, are we including the Endless Waltz versions?
We are.
Perfect. Okay, then I have no complaints.
While they are the same suits, they are completely different designs, and thus worth talking about in a separate breath as their base 100%,
suits. Yeah.
I usually organize it by order the things show up in. Forgot to do that for this, so I just vaguely did it in that order.
Okay.
By the end,
the first thing we see ever is the Trago, so...
Yeah, and we'll get to that after the main boys. So,
okay, cool.
Number 1 on this list, Wing Gundam. The regular one. Just like good old regular Wing. Oh, and by the way, I'm not doing the Endless Waltz manga designs because we didn't read that.
That's fine.
So,
yeah.
do
There's
like
frozen teardrop designs as well.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not doing the Snow White Requiem, whatever the hell. I feel like the base regular Wing, I feel like that's just like a solid B. Like,
yeah,
it's
I
fine.
can totally agree.
It doesn't stick out to me. It's an incredibly 90s Gundam design with that fucking gigantic chest jewel. But just like, I feel like it is just the most middle of the road Gundam there is because it's just like the main Gundam that isn't really the specialized one of any of them.
Of the original 5 that we see in the opening of the show, it's the one that you're just like, okay, yeah, that's a Gundam.
Yep, exactly.
I personally like it a lot, but I've also been influenced by the recent Wing real grade model, like, and that doesn't fucking count because they made it that's
cooler.
Like
it's like an amplified, exactly. So
yeah,
we all agree B tier for Wing.
I think that's
absolutely
good.
I think like there's obviously nostalgia around it being like the Gundam from this. Obviously you have the other ones, but like this was kind of on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it is the standard for which at least the first 5 kind of go up and down from.
Yes, and that brings us to second, Death Scythe.
Number 2.
I feel like
it's just number 2, Death Scythe. Duo's very own.
So
I flip flop on Death Scythe.
Baby Death Scythe's a very good suit.
Like,
and I don't know I don't know where I feel about it in comparison to Death Scythe Hell, genuinely, because I kind of dig it without the wings more.
It's like it's very simple. It's classic. You got the whole white lower half and it turns to gray and black with the yellow accents. Like the simplicity, I think, really works for it. I'm feeling A tier for this.
Honestly, I can agree with that. I was gonna say B tier. I think it fits really well with the original Wing, where it kind of stock standard. It's nice to see like a different color scheme, and this is kind of the first one of these we get in the show. And I think there are ones that do it better than Death Scythe in the original 5. So yeah, I would be fine with like A tier, and if we put stuff above it, but I would also be fine with putting it in
if we want to move, we can bump it down later, like the bottom of A or the top
Sure.
of B as we populate the list. So next up is Heavy Arms.
C tier.
What do you say? C?
Middle of the road. Like if we were doing like a bell curve, I would say it is not as good as the original Wing. It's not better than Death Scythe, even close to it. I like Heavy Arms. I like Troa. This thing is very ugly, and the red, orange, and yellow color scheme.
It's too much.
It's not great.
I think it's an easy agree from me.
Yeah, I think if the orange was turned into a yellow or a red and you didn't have a whole extra color, I think it'd look a bit nicer. But yeah, I think below Wing and B is good for me as well.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that.
Good. All right, next up is Sandrock Gundam. Good old catcher's machine.
A tier. Sandrock is the second best design of the 5. That's my firm stance on that one. I think the snake head shield, along with the gold, black, and white colors, and the like custom like feathers on the shoulder pieces, just send it straight to the top. Also, it's got a double V fin, so
yeah, the shield is really what it would pull it up for me. Like, I personally think Sandrock is like in the bottom 2 of the main suits for me with Heavy Arms, but like, it's nice, you know. It's simple. It doesn't need a whole lot going on because it like what little it has, I guess, you know, it pops for it.
Death Scythe has the swag of the Scythe, but Sandrock having the like pincer fangs on this like shield.
It is a great Gyro's head for a shield.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the things that really bumps this up for me.
Sure.
Also, it's kind of strong enough that the design carried it through the entire show. Like,
yeah, Sandrock and Heavy
Kai
Arms
very different. Or
Sandrock and Heavy Arms both got a Kai version that we're not going to bother ranking because it is literally the same thing with like a little extra backpack.
Yeah,
so it's
and
like
one of them is served well by that, and the other not so much.
Yeah. So bottom of A, you think? Top of B?
I would say bottom of A.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Good.
I like Death Scythe's original design a bit better, but it is still, I think, better than the other
good.
ones.
All right, this is where it might get a little contentious because I fucking love Shenlong Gundam.
I do too. It's the best design out of the 5.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
It's it takes
those dragons are the best things.
Yeah,
like, that you're not wrong.
Yeah, no, it takes the original Gundam like colors, the blue, red, and yellow, very much like what the Wing did, but it puts them on in an interesting way. and doesn't have the chest jewel to distract from that.
No, it has this really sick, like, it looks like a piece of armor that was laid over the chest with, like, the sort of gold trim around the red. Like, it looks like an armored
really
up warrior.
Cool. And that being accented immediately by, like, the blue surrounding it, plus the, like, the shield with it, and the weapon being, like, the staff, instead of, you know, it's nice because it takes a Gundam concept, kind of like G Gundam, and it pushes it into a direction that is more interesting than just a big robot with a big gun.
Exactly.
And big robot with big gun is fucking awesome. Like,
and
the
we'll get
Mega
there.
Launcher fully sold out like in 2 seconds, and then they restocked it and it sold out in 2 seconds again. So like, I get it. I like the big gun, but of the 5, I think Shenlong does it the best.
Yeah.
I would put that above Death Sight.
Yep, top of A.
For myself as well. Yeah.
Okay, next up, and I feel like this is going to be pretty predictable. We're going to put this. Oh, hold on. I should put Leo Gundam, not just Leo, because it'll just pull up some lions.
I'm like watching you Google.
Yeah. So for the sake of simplicity, I've combined all the different Leos. So the Leo, the Trey's color Leo, all is combined together. And again, for the sake of simplicity, Jay, I'm including Space Type Leo in with the regular Leo ranking. So
that's fine.
I'm kind of just starting to drag it up to S class because I feel like
no, Leo goes in C tier. I get it.
Really?
Leo. Well, okay. I'm a rational human being. I promise.
People fucking love Leos, though.
Oh, I know.
I'll let Jay go first. Go ahead. Finish this thought, and then I have something.
I have a lot of feelings about the Leo. It is the follow-up to the Tall Geese that could be mass-produced. I love that it's just a filler army suit. You see him get shredded from beginning to end. You get a swag Leo sequence in Endless Waltz. They answer the question of what if it was purple. Like, they do all the things, you know? But it's also, I know I said, like, Wing was, like, the most middle of the road. That's because it's the most middle of the road Gundam. The Leo is boring. It's very flat. It's all essentially one color, aside from, like, the wrap on the head. But it's
not... it was also mass-produced, so that makes sense.
Right, and it's not supposed to be interesting. It's supposed to look, it's very utilitarian, and I get it, and I think it belongs in the C tier. Like I said, if this was kind of like a bell curve, this is the most average of all of the things. Like, really, if you like smashed all of these things together, this is at the core of essentially all of it. Well, literally all of it.
It's just your most average
for the Gundams, so
mobile suit here.
Yeah. I love the Space Leo, and I would make an exception to put Space Leo separately in S tier, but I'm fine with putting them all in C tier.
Yeah? What do you think, Jules?
I was going to say I would like it to be our lowest in B, if only because I genuinely enjoy this, like, throwaway suit that we get to see be demolished and kind of set a power level for the rest of everything around it.
Yeah.
I think that actually serves it well in why I like it. I enjoy they just have fucking machine guns. They don't even have... They're just doing their goddamn best.
Most boring kit. Yeah, it's like...
no, they made Zaku's more boring. Like...
The one thing that I like about it so much is just, it doesn't have a face. It just has a weird yellow screen.
Yeah.
And that's like
I kind of fucking dig it.
I'm saying bottom of B as well, just because it's like
cool.
It's an iconic grunt suit. Every Gundam fan knows a Leo, you know?
I mean, hell, Leo stuck around long enough to make it into Gundam Build Divers, so
yeah. it's iconic for a reason. All right, so bottom of B for that, and let's talk about the Tragos. I've really cool on I've cooled on this guy a lot.
Gun tank, but somehow like worse. So the thing is, there are like several different versions of the Tragos suits.
There's like a standee version. I don't remember seeing the standing version ever, so I didn't even put it on here.
We saw him like maybe 2 or 3 times. I think one of the best instances is when the Magwanac were fighting outside of their town with the base. Because that's also where we see like the hover Magwanac, which are weird in their own kind of thing. But yeah, the Tragos kind of fall apart comparatively to everything else, and it's not that bad, but it's also one of the least interesting suits to look at. But it is one of the less humanoid suits.
Yeah, it's more utilitarian. It feels like it's there to like. it feels like an early step in creating like a bridge between, like you said, it's a gun tank. It's a bridge between conventional weaponry and mobile suits.
It reminds
That's
me a lot
fine.
of like the origin version of the gun tank, which is a
Yeah,
lot more like
yes,
hard
absolutely.
military sci-fi rather
Uh-huh.
than just, oh, it's the top half is gun hands and the bottom
Yeah.
half is just a tank. Do you get it?
Yeah, I'm feeling like C for this maybe.
I would kind of dump it down into D tier.
I would also.
All right, Dragos and D tier, get fucked.
It kind of sucks shit. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
there's a reason we didn't see it past like episode 10. All right, here's something even more contentious than what's come before. We're talking about Ares.
Okay. I want to hear both of you out first.
Ares.
Okay.
Ares is my favorite grunt suit in this series.
Okay.
It is. I love the weird skinny legs because it need legs. I love the sheer amount of ducts and vents and thrusters it has. It's so top heavy. I love that the head armor looks like a fighter jet's helmet. Like you have the helmet and you have like what looks like the sort of respirator on front of it, but it still has that square Leo screen underneath. I think it is such a cool twist on the Leo. I wish we saw more of it, but they stick around still for most of the entire series. Like, I just really like the Ares. What do you think, Jules?
I think the flight areas are one of my favorite suits.
They kick ass!
Like, a lot of the points you make, I agree. Like, it's so evocative of a fighter jet pilot, just kind of morphed into its own fighter jet.
Uh-huh.
The vents are so cool, and just like the fact that its legs are basically landing gear, and there's something about that just like tickles me.
Yeah. Don't need legs if you fly all the time.
I think the Ares should go into A tier for Ares.
I'm going to put it
Ares.
A for Ares. Is it cooler than the Gundams?
I don't think it is quite. It is
Yeah.
very stylish. It is certainly the most stylish of the grunt suits. Just in general terms of aesthetic. The fact that the legs pop in and out, phenomenal. Chef's kiss. We also get like two different color variations. There's the typical like darker blue, and then I think we see some green ones later on. Like
Noin has a green version. It's nice.
Yeah, it is probably my second favorite of the specialized grunt suits.
Yep. Speaking of specialized grunt suits, this isn't really a grunt suit, but this is an aquatic assault suit. This is the Cancer. Time for Crab. What do we think?
I hate this fucking thing. I think it's funny that it looks like a crab. Like, it makes me fucking laugh when I look at it. My favorite piece of information about this stupid little thing is that it has a camera sensor that's on, like, if you lay this thing flat, it's on the bottom of it.
It's on the tummy.
Yeah, it's very silly. But I do not care for this thing one bit.
It's goofy yet impractical is what the Cancer, I think, boils down to.
I do wish
like
that we got more Oz suits that were wacky like this. But this one kind of fails to be wacky enough to be charming to me.
Yeah. C for Cancer, you think?
I think so. I wish this had gotten iterated on at least once. I think it would have been cooler.
Like a lobster Cancer or something like that.
Just like the base Cancer is, I think it's a cool attempt at an idea. I don't think it got there.
The coolest thing the Cancer did in this entire show is get ripped in half by the tall geese.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll get to the fucking. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. But yeah, Cancer C tier. So again, it's like I wish there was more to it.
C-tier. Yeah.
I mean, it's the only one in C tier right now. So by default, it is the top and the bottom.
It's the switch of C tier.
Another aquatic suit next is the Pisces. So this is it's like a Leo combined with a submarine that looks like a Mega Man X boss somehow. This guy is cool. I love the stupidly long arms it has. I think it has a transformation of sorts. Let me see if I can.
It does turn into a submarine.
Yeah.
It has. Hence why.
It has like a mobility mode underwater that looks more like the Cancer a little bit. I appreciate the Pisces. The Pisces is what I like about iterative designs. Like you said, it's got that Leo core in there, but this is something different, something kind of beyond that. And I like that about it. I also like the color. The Pisces we typically see is like this like seafoam green, like bird's egg blue sort of combination of colors. And I think that works really well for it because we don't see a lot of colors like that.
It blends into the ocean better than fucking giant red crab does, for sure.
Yeah.
It really does.
Absolutely.
I think cooler than the Cancer, but still C tier, maybe?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if it's cool enough to like be just the regular iconic Leo that it iterated upon, but it's still a more, cool. Next up is what I am, a Taurus. And again, no white Taurus on here because it's just the Taurus, but white. But, whew, baby, the Taurus.
I love the Taurus.
Taurus kind of fucks.
I think I like the Taurus more than the Aries, and I know that might be kind of a hot take, considering the conversation we had about the Aries. But the Taurus, I love the spiky design. It's just really weird, and we see them so much without pilots, which also makes them a lot more terrifying to me, which makes them more interesting to me.
Yeah,
the outlandish design, transformation mode, like they were built for space combat too. It's another one of the like specialized suits. So yeah,
it's like the weird pointiness to them makes them feel alien, and the fact that they're mobile dolls mostly really adds to that. And again, it's like this really dark purple and a lighter purple.
2 tones of purple is what I was going to mention.
And the red highlights and
okay.
bright yellow screen. It's just very pretty.
And the I can't tell from the image that I'm looking at here, but does it have it has feet that would like pinch together and fold in? Is that what I'm seeing? Which is like different from the standard like boot foot that we typically see.
Since the Taurus are also space use, the feet are less to stand on. The feet do kind of like pinch together and fold, it looks like, to move around. I just like when a suit's like, yeah, we don't really need feet.
I just like how wacky it is. It's got a goofy transformation. They zip and zoom around in space, and their faces flash at you, and then you shit yourself because you're about to get destroyed by a robot.
Yeah, I mean, for how important is this show, I'm fine putting it right above Aries and A tier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe like top of B tier, but A tier.
Okay. I don't know if we lost Craig.
Goodbye, Craig.
Craig just died.
Beans. That's okay.
He said no more.
Craig said, the Taurus is my favorite suit.
Right. Welcome back.
Yeah, top of B is good for Taurus.
Yeah, I'd rather it be top of B.
Top of B.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a guy that I personally don't really care about that much, the Magwanac.
I think the Magwanac kind of fits right in with the Leo. I think it's more interesting. I like that we get an actual like mono eye suit out of this. Yeah. Typically speaking. But I also they remind me of the Death Army from G Gundam. Just
they
like
really do. Same, very similar color
brown
scheme, brown and greenish. Yeah.
But one of the things I like the most about the Magwanac, it's the mono eye, and it's like the armor plating on its chest and skirt that it just looks like it's built for combat, like front-facing assault combat, yes. And I like that very much.
It's a very pleasing color scheme. Like the brown and orange looks good for like a desert combat suit. Really cool joints too. If you look at the sort of like inner elbows and inner knees, like these cool cylinders that it's kind of made up of.
Yeah.
I also like the kind of joints between the armor plates too.
Yeah. It's
kind of
just
give it a more like, I don't know, like I don't want to say mobile, but like a more fluid.
You get the feeling this was built by like a totally different organization than who builds like all the other suits. Yeah.
I would be fine with it just kind of going into C tier. But I'm like I don't love it enough to say like anywhere higher than like the bottom of B tier.
I think top of C is good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's much better than the 2 aquatic suits in my mind, but I don't know if I don't feel the same way about it as I do with the Leos.
Next up is the fucker. Look at this thing. Look at the Oliphant. Who gives a shit?
Big shoe step and D.
I usually like stupid, ugly, and practical mobile suits. This thing sucks. It's just a head, a torso, and like 2 unbending legs. What's the deal?
It's like if they like took the body section off of a Dom.
Kinda, yeah. It has those bell bottoms. It's like it feels like the Magwanac core. Like we have all these leftover parts, and we have some other guys who can pilot, but like we can't build a full mobile suit. Let's just build some of these guys and call it a day. Can we put this thing in D tier?
Yeah, it can go right into D tier. It's supposed to be like a high mobility hover Magwanac.
Uh-oh.
for
Yeah.
like artillery purposes.
Sorry, I saw the tier list and what's coming next.
Yeah, this thing fucking sucks. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Next up, I don't even need to look up. I don't even need to argue. This is the tall geese. This is going into S class,
Top of
and
S
I will
tier,
not
baby.
hear anything more on it.
Yep. That's it. That's
Yep.
the whole conversation.
Yep, that was easy.
It's just come on.
God
it's tall geese.
Damn, that
You've
goose
heard us talk about tall
came
geese.
tall.
Yeah.
That goose is and can be tall. The thing I have with this fucking goose is that it's just so clean.
It's so clean.
It does all white better than the third version of itself.
Yeah,
It
like that's
does.
the wild thing. Like they tried to iterate on it and they fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh,
You
it's
made it
just-
worse.
Made it worse. It's just like the doper gun and the shield. Oh,
Mhm.
mwah. Hats off. My compliments to the chef.
I will have some. We'll have some questions when we get to other things that I want in S tier, but we'll
Get
get
there. Now we have the Vayit.
Mhm.
This thing, it's the blue one. It's that blue with the light teal accents and the little like tiny pink camera. Big gun. This one is.
That's the big gun one.
I think
So-
it's fine.
So this is the thing I had mentioned a couple weeks back when we first talked about the tier list, where it is the one thing that shifts drastically between two forms of my tier list.
Mm.
If I'm counting the V8 and the Mercurius at like together,
Do not separate
they
them.
are S tier for me because like just the way they interact and the way they work together. But if they're
Mhm.
separate, they both kind of plummet for me overall.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I
a reason
like
P
them
Bandai
both.
sold these kits together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like them both for what they do. I do not care for how either of them look. And I like they're like worse tall geese, and they tried to do the single color thing. The blue looks
Mhm.
better than the red, but also Mercurius is the better suit of the two. It's like I don't know. I would be fine with maybe putting them towards the bottom of like B tier because like. I like them. I get it. I liked it when Troa piloted the V8. I liked it when Hiro piloted the Mercurius. I like what the suits do very much. I like thinking about like, oh, what would they do in these combat scenarios? That's very fun. But they are design-wise like a weird
Pretty
downgrade from
middle
the
of the road.
tall geese and like a
Yeah.
weird side grade to the Leo. And I don't know. They're just like a little too weird and chunky in some sections.
Sure.
And I just am not in love with them.
I think that totally makes sense.
Let's put them. I'm inclined to put them. Well, first of all, we can't separate them. I'm inclined to
Of
put
course.
them between between the Taurus and the Wing Gundam.
I don't have
I
like a
think-
visual representation for that because I'm not.
So
That's second.
yeah, right now Taurus is the top of B.
Ooh.
This is kind of averaging out our opinions because I think Jules and I are bigger fans of them than you are. So I
Okay.
think if we're gonna go on an average basis, I think upper
I
B
think we
is
could-
a good place
we
for
could
these
put them
guys.
Under the Wing Gundam, and I'll settle for that.
That's
Okay.
fair.
Between
Yeah.
Wing and Heavy Arms, then
Okay.
let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's
right
good.
where they
All right,
belong.
sorry.
Just
Sorry,
like Hiro and
Tro.
Troa would want
Oh
them.
shit! Exactly.
Fuck!
They're they're next to their
Okay.
boys. Okay, this is good.
We obviously did that on purpose.
Yeah, of course. Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
Hero
this
was
is
in
scripted.
Hero was in the Mercurius, right? Hero's
Yes,
in the
that's
Shield
correct.
one.
Yep.
Okay, all right. There we go. Now they're next to each
Fixed.
other. Okay, now we got the Virgo. Big Chungy.
Virgo
This
1
is-
is
Virgo 1 specifically.
A tier for me.
I like it. I like his cool little
That's
ears.
the orc one, yeah.
Virgo
It's the one
1,
that because it has those weird Leo like clavicle plugs that they put in the
Yes.
face instead. It literally looks like an orc. I fucking dig
Yeah,
it.
I strongly relate to this
The-
suit. It just gives me such orc with plate armor vibes from
Yes.
World of Warcraft.
Uh-huh.
The Virgo
I
1
like
is
it a lot.
Tell me
It's
you
little
played
ears.
Horde without telling me you played Horde.
Wow.
It's
Anyway,
It's a really good step up from the Taurus, especially for the mobile doll program, because it's got the V8 cannon, the Mercurius shield. They still
Mhm.
get bodied, which is hilarious, but
For a while,
Like-
they're on top.
I really, really love the chunky shoulders, like the half spheres, because they get cut
Yeah.
off, and then it really like balances out with like the roundness of the waist plate, and then the like big hefty legs. it all works to me really well. I like that the two shoulders are asymmetrical because one has the charger for the cannon, the other has the Mercurius shield. It's all good to me. I like
Good
it.
design.
Also,
Let's
I like that
go.
it has little
the
ears.
Leo, the Leo has elf ears.
Cooler than Ares, but not as cool as a Gundam.
Yeah,
In A
I would
tier?
say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out.
Good place
I'm
for it.
good with it.
Hey, speaking of Gundams, Epion. Let's go goth.
No.
Epion is I have this problem with a lot of the 90s Gundam designs. I'm not a huge fan of chest jewels, and Epion has a little bit of like green trim I'm not the biggest fan of, mainly in the chest and like on the
It's
feet
on the toesy
for some
woesies.
reason.
Yeah, it's the
These little
dragon's eyes.
toesies.
That's what it's meant
But
to be.
It's just like, is a dragon. It's fucking
I
badass
think
is what
it's
it
trying
is.
too hard.
It is trying too hard. Absolutely, it's trying too hard.
Epion is the Shadow the Hedgehog of this series. And
Nothing
it's better
personnel,
for
kid.
it.
Yes, it works. It's try hardness, but I feel like compared to other, especially Gundam designs, I think it's a bit over the top in a way that doesn't.
I have two counterpoints. One,
Okay,
Proto Beam Saber.
true.
Two, Heat Whip. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Like,
I'm gonna put
the
it.
wings I'm kind of hit or miss with. And I agree the chest jewel's kind of like wonky on this one. But like the Heat Whip and the Proto Beam Saber fucking kick ass. So like, you know, you gotta win some, lose some on this one.
Top of B, bottom of A.
I would say bottom of A, personally.
I agree with that.
Sure.
I love, I love an
lean
edgy
that
suit.
way.
I love an edgy character. I love an edgy suit. So I would say bottom of A.
Okay. Well, continuing the Gundam train, now we have the Gundam Wing Zero, not the Endless Waltz version, the Wing Zero from the TV that has like the sort of quad verniers on the back. The weird sort of like yellow, I don't even know what you call them. Those weird like bolts on the shoulders, a giant green jewel,
Yeah.
elf ears.
I think the Wing Zero, I love a good double V fin. I think
Yes.
this thing is uglier than the original Wing.
I think you're right.
And
I think it's too busy.
It's too busy.
It's too busy, but it's also the colors get lost because the skirt armor is basically all white on this. And so a lot of the color is just up top on the chest and shoulders, which there's a lot of them. We have a green chest jewel with gold accents. We have this deep navy blue. The shoulders have these little red splotches that are pin marked by, like Max said, those like yellow bolts, the gold bolts. I love the dual buster cannon, and I love it when Hiro Yui does his signature move where he splits them apart and spins around. But like the yellow piping on that and the yellow on the shield is just foul. I'm sorry, but it's gross.
I agree. I think it's worse than Wing. I think like shit. Are we gonna put a Gundam into top of C tier?
I would make a case for B tier, but like lower B tier.
Okay. Not as cool as a Leo, let's say. Bottom
I think
of B.
it's worse. I think it's on par with Heavy Arms for me in terms of just like the colors are bad and I don't care for it.
Okay, all right. Next to Heavy Arms then. That's good.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Gundam Death Scythe Hell. Let's get fucking edgy. For me, okay, hold on. I need to find the TV version because it all wants to give you the Endless Waltz version.
It always wants
The
to give you the Endless Waltz version.
TV
They want you to
version-
fucking forget the TV version of the Death Scythe Hell.
I don't want to because I like the mechanical bits of cowling more. I like the weird filigree on the helmet and
fucking
the
rib cage.
the fucking chest vents that are like an outwards rib cage. Oh my god, this thing beats ass.
I think this thing is
The
a
rib
flat
cages are my
upgrade.
favorite part.
Easily a flat upgrade.
It's
from the
it's
original
like a
Death
fucking
Scythe.
chest burster, like grabbed onto its chest and just give him a hug.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed. Fucking. All right, I'm gonna put this. Let's put it right next to Death Scythe, but above it. Is that
Okay.
good? It's like near the top of A tier.
Yeah, I would say top of A tier works.
Okay, hey, it's my favorite Gundam in the show. Gundam Ultron. Not the Avengers thing, but, you know. This thing?
I
the
love
teal, it's teal! Look at
I
it,
love
it's
the
teal.
colors, but this is another one where the yellow ruins it for me.
Oh.
I don't like the yellow on the dragon fangs. I don't like the yellow and the red on the shield. I think it's real nasty. Take those away, and the yellow lining on the chest piece with the red, I can live with that. But if they went for more of a gold instead of just like a flat yellow, and most of the time it is just that flat yellow, I would like it
that's
a little
fair.
more. I do like seeing it without the wings.
The wings fucking suck on this thing. I hate that the wings are just like slabs of metal that don't do anything.
Yeah, the whole
that was a
backpack
choice.
with the wings. I like the scorpion tail to an extent, but like it doesn't really function without the wings, and it already has the dragon heads, so it's just a little too much.
Why do you need? It's more of the same.
It's over the top. I like that it's over the top, but it is. I do wish it didn't have the fucking wings. Maybe upper B.
I would put it above the Magwanac, so not in C tier.
Okay, yeah.
But I would put it probably around the same spot as like the Wing Proto Zero.
Okay, above or below Wing Zero then?
I would say below it, personally.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, cool. All right. Poor Leo keeps on getting edged away.
I think it's a matter of the backpack. The backpack on Ultron original flavor is not as interesting as the backpack on the Wing Zero upgrade.
Yeah, valid. Cool. Then that will bring us to the Virgo 2. I included it because it's a separate model. Essentially, it takes a Virgo, gives it a olive drab color scheme, doubles up the globe shield thing, and gives it like these two huge fucking like thruster guns on its back.
This thing's as boring to me as the Trego. Like,
really?
It's not as,
I think it's much worse than the Virgo one. It's
not as visually boring as the Trago, so I do want to cover my bases there, but I don't care for this thing. This is like when they gave an Ares a flight unit, or like the Ares space or not Ares, Leo, when they gave the Leo a flight unit, or like seeing the space Leos, it's so much of like a side grade where it's like not different enough for me to care. And then they took the colors that were already really good and then made them really nasty.
Okay, all right, fair. How about C tier?
Bottom of C tier, yeah.
Yeah.
Worse than Cancer. All right, I can deal with that. Crab on top, baby.
The crab's got an interesting color set. That's
true.
It's also got the crab gimmick. I will give it that. Over the Virgo 2, it's superior.
Yeah. Okay, next up is the Tall Geese 2.
Put it wherever you want. I don't think anyone gives a shit about the Tall Geese 2.
It's just like, for something called the Tall Geese 2, it really doesn't do enough to continue the design language the Tall Geese 1 set out.
The only thing they needed to do to make this an upgrade, in my personal opinion, is make the knee guards all the way down to the feet all black. And I know,
give him some thigh highs.
Don't get me started on putting black on a Gundam. I get it. I know what they did to the Mark II, but like, I'm serious. This thing is supposed to look like Trey's in like formal wear. He's wearing a coat. He has the drapes of the coat behind him on the skirt, and it would work if you gave him the boots. You're like, oh, that's Trey's Tall Geese. You look at this thing and you're like, okay, that's like an upgraded Tall Geese. You give it the fucking boots that you see Trey's in every episode for the first like 6 episodes when the announcer's talking about Oz, where he is knee high. He's got that like knee guard flap like way up high. Yeah.
This fucker's top of C tier.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You're in
like,
C
it's
tier.
still a goose, but it's like, it's so bad.
C tier for
it could what could have been. That's what it really boils down to.
You were so close to being a swan, but you ended up being an ugly duckling. Get fucked.
Oh.
Owned. Okay, now we're gonna move into the Endless Waltz suits. First up is the only grunt suit of the movie, the Serpent. I should add Serpent Gundam because I'm just getting photos of snakes.
That's a fucking snake, buddy.
I need to hear your opinions on this.
I think the Serpent beats fucking ass. It's just like, you look at it, it's clearly inspired by Heavy Arms, what with the chungularness of it and the double barrel Gatling gun it holds in one arm. But just the military tan brown color scheme, you get these really cool like red vents on the shoulders. It still has that Leo camera, and it still has the sort of bolts that are on the sides of the head now, but like it has a little bit of armor on top of it. It has these really big, tall, thick legs. It just feels like like it's like a full armor Leo almost.
I
and
think it's
quite
the
like
Virgo 3, and I don't care for it.
Interesting.
I like
I
the
don't
colors.
care for this friend.
I like the colors. I like that they kept it simple. And so the colors aren't too busy. There is a lot going on the top half that I think gets lost. A lot of minutia, especially like in the faceplate and the chest, which is going to happen. The Leo has a tiny head. I like the double Gatling, especially because we see Troa with it exactly one time before the show ends.
Yeah, in his signature fighting style.
But I don't think this thing is I maybe better than a Leo, but like
I mean,
not by much.
For the sake of appeasement, let's put it right above Virgo 2, but not as cool as a Cancer.
That's fine by me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the Virgo 2 is like truly garbage, and I think this thing is a garbage that like looks nice.
Yeah. Again, it's next to Cancer, which some people would say is also garbage, so.
Yeah.
Some
people in this very recording.
Here's something. Angel Wings.
This thing's fucking S tier. The endless.
I don't have any.
The endless waltz Wing Zero.
There.
The debut with the fucking. You see it firing on the part of Libra dropping, and then the second time you see it is when they have the fucking 7-minute long music video in the middle of a movie. It's so impractical, but it's so fucking stylish. It's
sorry, no offense, but I'm saying wow, cool robot to this one.
Full offense, I'm saying wow, cool robot to this one.
So like watching the difference of the cut. So you watch it at the end of the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it like kind of recaps it at the beginning of Endless Waltz. Only it has fresh as hell wings.
Yeah,
and I did do a bit of a clap and a hoot and a holler.
It also balances the colors better than the
it does.
The Wing Zero from the show.
Yeah,
it gives like
for sure.
It takes the red away that's too much going on in the TV version.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and it gives you more of that white around the shoulders that kind of like lets the blue pop more too.
The shoulders are really cool. I like the Sydney Opera House. I said that in the movie too, but like the way the shoulders kind of like flare and curve out. Yeah, it's S tier next to Tall Geese.
Yeah, with the blue accents, the arm guards with the little red accents, that work really nicely with like that little waist section that's red and the feet. And the legs are not there to draw your attention at all. The legs are very straightforward.
No, they're just there. They're legs.
It works. It functions, and it's just one of the nicest suits to look at.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, only a couple more to go. Death Scythe Hell, Endless Waltz, Bat Wings.
Top of S tier. This thing's cooler than the fucking Wing Zero. Sorry.
But is it cooler than Tall Geese?
Just, like, drop.
This thing is cooler than Tall Geese. Are you fucking kidding me?
I knew the day would come.
This is the Joker Gundam, dude.
It does have it's so many points on this thing.
Its feet have points. Its knees have points.
It's fucking... What's the point?
I will give you that this is absolutely an S tier. I don't know if I like it more than the original Goose.
That's fine.
I can't in good conscience put this at the very top of S tier, but I will put this in S tier between Tall Geese and Wing Zero.
That is fine by me.
Okay.
This is an S tier seat. I mean, we got
they are all exactly
cool fucking
where they
wings.
belong.
Yeah. Do not separate them. Okay. Heavy Arms, Endless Waltz, the blue version of it.
I like this much better than the original Heavy Arms.
Yes.
I will actually say that. I think it's less of a chunky monkey. It's got like the center of it kind of flares in before going out back to its knees in a way that the original doesn't. So it has a much different silhouette to it. Plus the double Gatling gun that it holds in its hands is one of my favorite weapons in this series.
It's just silly. It's impractical.
Oh, 100%, but I do love it.
It is fully redeemed by the color scheme.
Yes, I love it. It's so different, and I think that helps kind of separate
also,
my mind from the original
clown
too.
mask, fucking absolutely top tier comedy. Where did we place the original Death Scythe Hell?
Original Death Scythe Hell is near the top of A, right below Shenlong.
I would put this probably above, if not right below, original Shenlong.
Yeah. Okay.
Like in that range. It's
I think the top-ish of A, somewhere in there.
This is
upper
a
A,
much
you're
better
saying.
version of Heavy
Sure.
Arms.
All right. Next up is Sandrock Custom Endless Waltz version. This is the Sandrock that has that sort of like almost a periwinkle to it, with like
has an interesting head flare too.
Yeah, it did very Tall Geese-esque. It does
So-
has that Roman centurion type.
The
Yeah.
original Sandrock has that, but it's just white, so you
It's just
never
white,
really
yeah.
look at
Oh,
it.
it's easy to
so
miss,
they
you're right.
they just colored it red, and it's a really good eye catch.
Yeah,
I like
the
the
red
color
chest
scheme
vents
for
are
this.
doing it for me too.
Yeah, I like the color scheme for this a lot, but I personally don't like it more than the original Sandrock.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like
I
I could
like
put them right next to each other and be perfectly happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I'm fine with me. Let's put that right below Sandrock in A. Very good. Okay. Ultron Endless Waltz. I can't type. This thing is... I fucking love it. I like... Okay. This is my actual favorite Gundam of the show because it does what Ultron does. It has this really sick two-tone green. It simplifies the kit, so it only has the two sort of like pop-out dragon arms. It does have a spear that it's just kind of hidden somewhere on it, I guess.
Right.
Still got the elf ear, still got the double V fin, but like it is mostly white. You got two shades of green. You got the yellow on the dragon claws and that yellow around the chest plate, and then you have like the red of the arms themselves, the dragon.
This is very literally Wing Gundam's take on the Dragon Gundam from G Gundam.
It is.
I think it's a really successful. It's not intentional, but I think it's a really successful translation from one to the other.
Absolutely.
I really like the two tones of green. It makes the gold accents that much better, and that's the thing is they darkened that yellow to make it more of a gold, and it makes the dragon heads look better. It's essentially a full flat upgrade. Like they did it. They did Ultron again, and they made it better. And original Ultron is like pretty good. And so this is great.
Yeah, we love this. I'm gonna put this. Can I put it at the top of A, right above Shenlong?
Sorry, where?
Right above Shenlong, top of A. Is that too high?
I would put it below Shenlong. Personally.
Okay, all right, maybe upper A. Upper A, fine by
But
me.
I'm absolutely like front of A near the top.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a really cool suit. I don't know if I like it better than Shenlong, if only because, and this is gonna date me and also just explain a lot about me. Its arms remind me too much of the blaster class from Maple Story for me to really enjoy this Gundam.
Fucking hell yeah. Go off. I remember when we were all into Maple Story back in the day. I gotcha. Well, not to dwell on Julia showing her whole ass on the podcast. Final... I almost said Pokemon. Final Gundam on the tier list. This is a Gundam. Tall Geese 3.
This is a Gundam. It has a V-fin. Where did we
put
put
V-fin
Epion?
does not a Gundam make, but, yeah.
Where
we
did
put Epion in the bottom of A.
Okay. I personally like the Tall Geese 3 a lot. Like, a lot. Like, I would put this in S tier. I also put Epion in S tier, so that says a lot about me. Like, for my personal rankings. I would put this by Epion, just to put, like, Zex's suits by each other. It is... There are things I like about it, like the Heat Whip Shield combo. Again, just fucking stellar. You love to see it. I love the V-fin. I love the gold visor. I love the remade face. And the blue is nice accents instead of like black or gray with the original. But I don't think it outclasses the original Goose.
Agreed.
No, absolutely not. I do think it's cooler than Epion, but I like it being next to Epion. It feels fitting, you know. It's double Zex.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's made our tier list. So I'm gonna run this through with y'all, just to make sure we have all of our geese in a row. S tier, Tall Geese, then Death Scythe Hell Endless Waltz, then Wing Zero Endless Waltz. That's a good ass S tier. A tier, Shenlong, then Ultron Endless Waltz, then Heavy Arms Endless Waltz, then Death Scythe Hell, then Death Scythe regular, then Sandrock, then Sandrock Custom, Endless Waltz, then the Virgo 1, Ares, Tall Geese 3, and Epion.
Really good
Into
A tier.
B tier.
Yeah.
Good A tier, yeah. Into B tier, we have the Taurus, then Wing, the Mercurius, and then the Vait, Heavy Arms regular, Wing 0, Ultron from the show, and the Leo.
Yeah.
This is solid B tier. In C tier, we have Tall Geese 2, then the Magwanac, then the Pisces, then Cancer, then the Serpent, and then the Virgo 2. Couple stinkers, but again, that's because why it's C tier. And then finally, in the No One Likes You D tier, is the Tragos and the Oliphant.
Can you add like an F tier to just drag those down one more?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah, no, I'm gonna add row below. You're gonna make this is going to be F tier. It's gonna be okay. The color went away.
Throw the Virgo 2
F
down
tier.
there while we're at it.
Yeah. F tier will be the Tragos and the Oliphant and the Virgo 2. That's good. All right.
Bye.
Sorry about it.
That makes me feel better
hey,
about placing the Serpent where we did.
That's
that's okay.
our tier list.
Yeah. I told you it wasn't
That
going
was
to be a
really
lot of
fun.
arguing. I promised.
No.
I was serious.
Yeah, it's always good. Okay. Well, tier list is made. It's time for questions because we got a big old mailbag. And again, if we don't get to your questions, I apologize. There's a lot to get through, and I want to give everyone kind of a fair shake at this.
Yeah.
And again, we will do this for as long as we kind of have the stamina to. I mean, we're not going to fucking run out on the pod, but you get it.
Okay.
Mailbag questions. Let's fucking get to them. Again, this is not in chronological order. So, Bryant asks us, what Pokemon would the Wingcast have? I always love this question because Brian always asks this every series. For the sake of everyone gets one, just for the sake of not spending an hour on this. Hero gets Electrode. Pokemon known for self-destructing.
100%.
I'm inclined to say that Zex gets a Unpheasant, if only because that was the mon that I named. That was the mon that I named Tall Geese in my draft league team. That was Farah Mobile Suit Gundam.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
You're
it's a cool
getting
bird.
some sort of like ghost Pokemon, obviously, right?
Yeah. What's a fucking a Bisharp?
I was gonna say I think Duo would get a Bisharp. I think Bisharp would be a really, really good fit.
Bisharp Jules, the black and red with the gold, like the fucking Power Rangers Super Sentai looking ass.
Oh shit! Okay, yep.
Yeah, it's just sharp and edgy, and that's Duo. Katra, I want to just say Sandslash.
I was thinking Sandshrew, actually.
Oh,
he's just a sweet boy.
He's just a little guy, and it doesn't help. Or it does help, I guess, that in the manga, I think Sandrock gets like the armadillo cloak.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of doubling up there. But Troa, what's the most... Oh, no, I know what it is. Troa gets a Blacephalon. Oh, Troa, how come you get an Ultra Beast? It's because it's a clown Pokemon. If the image would load, I can copy it and paste it.
I was actually thinking partially because of color scheme and also thematically it works. I think it'd be really nice if Troa got an Octillery.
Aww. Yeah, Octillery is good. Because Octillery is known for the signature of Octazooka.
Yeah.
And it does have that red and yellow color scheme to it.
I think that works
pretty good.
Well.
It does have a lot of arms.
What Pokemon would Noin have? Moving away from the Gundam Boys for no reason.
Yeah, not like we have any misogynists to talk about here. Noin would get...
Okay, sorry, Wufei would have a Garchomp, and it would be shiny, and he would let everyone know that it's the best dragon type.
Not like anyone could tell that Garchomp is shiny unless you Mega Evolve it
Exactly,
anyway.
But he would have to let everyone know about it.
It's a shiny Garchomp.
That's good, yeah. Annoying. I'm inclined to give Noin a Tauros or a Bouffalant just because she's the Taurus pilot. But also, I think, I think Bouffalant works because Bouffalant has really fucking cool hair, and so does Noin. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense for the cool hair people to go together.
Hear me out on this one. I think Noin would have an Ariados.
Piter!
I think Piter, but also Ariados has like a menacing exterior, which when we meet Noin, she's being real mean to some soldiers. Like, she's being a hard ass. And Ariados is, just a sweet little baby. So it's kind of like that threatening exterior as a thread. But I don't know. I feel like that just works really well. Like, the purple kind of ties in with Noin's hair. There's the purple on the Ariados legs. And it's a weird insect-like, kind of like the Taurus. Yeah.
Relina, I like Relina to get like one of them cute little mythical Pokemon, like a Celebi or a Jirachi,
Celebi was my first thought.
I was thinking an Audino with a Megastone.
That's also pretty good.
Mega Audino.
Both are fitting.
Yeah, very, very regal, but also all about like helping take care of other people, mostly through healing and not necessarily through violence.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Relina get Mega Audino. Just for the sake of not going over every character, 2 more. Dorothy. What does Dorothy get?
What's the gun Pokemon?
No. What is the Pokemon that is the most likely to be made out of gold?
I was thinking, what is the most gold Pokemon?
Oh my god, she would have a fucking Meowth. She'd have an original flavor Meowth.
Yes. That's so good. Just using Payday all the time. Fuck yeah. Trey's Kushranada. Trey's, what's the fuck? Trey's, what would you have, Trey's?
This is such a good question. Holy shit.
Trey's is he's so complex. I can't even think of a guy to give him. I feel like he deserves like a legendary Pokemon.
Yeah, part of me wants to make a joke and be like, oh, he would have a Pyroar. Haha, Lion, Oz, Leo, do you get it?
LOL.
At the same time, he would probably have something like really fucking weird.
I can see Trey's with like a Cresselia.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just some like left field legendary that like, this Pokemon is truly the embodiment of my soul. And everyone's like, what are you fucking talking about? And he's like, God. I'm going to die now.
Trey's would have a Latios.
Oh, it's the same color scheme, isn't it?
Oh.
It's the Tall Geese 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And Latios is all about
it's all about psychic
it's like it's the Eon duo. No, like in the lore, Latios is something to do with I don't know.
Well,
friendship
it pairs really well with Lady Un, who would have a Latios. So
yeah. According to the Ruby and Sapphire Dex entries, it says Latios will only open its heart to a trainer with a compassionate spirit.
Yeah.
So QED. That's Pokemon.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. Next up. My questions went away. Jojo F asks, and again, I'm so sorry that you asked like all these very, very in-depth discussion questions that we do not have time to get to. We'll tackle as many as we can.
I would love to talk about them. So if you want to hit,
we will talk about them in the Discord for what we
don't
talk in the show. Yes.
Yeah.
So they ask, if we situate Wu Fei in the long history of Japanese pop culture tropes about China and Chinese martial culture, especially the part about being an early prodigy and being surpassed by the main later, how much more or less individually problematic does he become? This is like a fucking 6 of one, half dozen the other, because it's like, would you rather Wu Fei be problematic because he's racist, or would you rather Wu Fei be problematic because he hates women? Like,
yeah.
Like, his character is still going to be problematic. It's just going to be a slightly different flavor of it. It being a trope does not make it a good thing.
Right. And I think that I honestly prefer Wu Fei how he is now than to be like, I mean, I'm saying Sai Saishi from G Gundam because Sai Saishi is so much more that trope. Yeah. But it's tropey, and it's like you need to look at it through a certain lens, have some level of criticality to it. But I'd rather, like, especially going from G back to Wing, like, we couldn't do that twice in a row, which is why Wu Fei had to be a lot less tropey than he could have been, and instead be a fucking complete unhinged, lunatic who hates women, which isn't good. But I don't want to say at least he's not racist, but it's okay that he hates women, but like,
right.
It's so hard, right? Because like, that's Wu Fei's character, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So the short version of this for me is I had actually never heard of this as a trope before. It's not something that I had actually been aware of. And so I have just had like an interesting time trying to like kind of diagnose like where this question would be answerable for Wing, because I get what they're saying. He is this martial artist prodigy, and he does end up getting surpassed by Hero, specifically in the movie, because Wu Fei is lost for a majority of the time. Mm-hmm. The other thing is Wu Fei's characterization that we get outside of Wing, which there's so little of it in Wing, aside of him like just being this really proud asshole, really. He's this 14-year-old child genius who like was married to another child genius, and that's a thing that we basically never see. And so he really is just relegated to this, oh, he's like the Chinese martial artist, and that's really all you get from him. He's like supposed to be really stoic, and that's about it. But it's like, I don't know, there was almost no time to even address any of that, because all we get of him is a couple scenes where he's a real asshole to Sally Poe, and then he's stoic and trying to be indifferent and goes off on his own, and then we don't see him for like 40 episodes.
I mean, it's the best.
Yeah, it's just like so much of Wu Fei is like you try and fix one thing and you realize that there's so much more work that needs to be done, to the point that he wouldn't be recognizable if you had to fix everything about him.
Right.
I'm saying, I look at Wu Fei and say, I can't fix him.
Yeah.
But I like him. He's still like a compelling character, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Just one that you have to put a lot of asterisks
fixing
behind.
Wu Fei would require an overhaul of Wing as a whole. Like,
yeah, and
100%.
We're not getting paid enough for that.
And we'll maybe get to that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, hey, next question from John, in a similar vein. How different would the show have been if Wu Fei was the main protagonist?
It would have been wildly different. We would have explored his character more fully, and it would have been, hopefully, more interesting, and he may have gotten a better fleshed out arc and not been a weird psychopath by the end of it.
I want to know what that final showdown would have been like, because,
if we had any sort of, like, character growth context for it.
Like, I would have loved Wu Fei and Trace to get more battles, aside from once in the beginning of the show and once in the end of the show, to really flesh out this rivalry between them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a recurring thing, and it made each one more impactful, because you have everything before it kind of building it. And with this one with Trace, it's just, why are you speaking to each other this way? You've not interacted since episode 7.
He counted how many dead soldiers there are. I'm gonna cry about it.
I think having Wu Fei front and center would have fixed a lot of things by allowing us to explore his character, and like the writers to flesh him out more and like kind of readjust his character, while I think Hiro being relegated to the position that Wu Fei had as like an alternate character who's just this nihilistic, fatalistic character, that's Hiro from beginning to end. That never changes, and that works fine as a background character. So I think it would have potentially been more interesting if Wu Fei had been the main character, and they had also obviously written him much, much better.
Yeah. Alas. Phoenix asks, if he was in charge of raising Marimea, would Trey's have been a decent dad?
No.
Fuck no, but also I think maybe if he tried a little bit harder to tell Marimea, hey, what I want is not to control the world. I mean, his actions and his words were different in this case, because his actions very much were pointing towards, I want to control the world to enforce peace. But I think if maybe, he was around to tell Marimea, actually, I want to be a martyr for peace, maybe she would have gotten it.
He would have been a very protective dad, but he also would have just been spouting ideology off at a baby until they were a child, and
a literal
that
baby.
child would have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. But would internalize.
Marimea would have turned out worse if Trace was her dad in the picture.
That is exactly where I was going with that.
We have a question from I think it's pronounced Jared, who asks, would the minions have worked for Trace?
100%. Whoever that guy is that asked that question, genius question. Excellent stuff.
Great question. Keep them coming.
I still like what I said about how it shouldn't be all 899 minions following one person. It should be a sort of like piece of the pie of evil. Of like, a lot of them are following Trace, but there's still other evil people that they're going to follow. Like, they probably what's his face?
They would have divvied up
Max, are you
over
telling
the
me
series.
there's 899 of those little yellow fucks?
Exactly 899 of them, yes.
Okay.
So I think where the series started, the minions would have all probably been under Trace, especially as like the front and center of Oz and the face of the Romefeller Foundation, because the United Earthsphere Alliance is evil. Yes, and they are imposing their will upon the space colonies, but like a lot of how they're doing that is being funded through Oz and through Romefeller.
Yeah.
And so they would start out there, but as more and more worse people show up, and okay, maybe I know you probably just said something similar to this, but like 898 of them would have been with Trey's, and from the beginning, one of them would have been with Dorothy.
I think, honestly, more of them would have been with Tubarov than with Trey's.
Interesting.
Tubarov was more like explicitly evil than Trey's was, because, you know, you can still make the argument Trey's was working.
As the series goes, they would just like split into minion factions.
Yeah. You have like a couple following Wu Fei, and they're like, why the fuck are they with him?
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like, I gotta do a whole fucking bit of minionology for this one, but it's fun to imagine. I like Gundam Minion crossovers. Yeah. I'm predictable. My interests are very public. Ah, Lord. Phoenix asks, where would you put the one fuck allowed in the PG-13 movie in the show?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I got it. I got one.
Okay.
When Miliardo fires Libra's beam cannon at Trey's Dorothy's like, fuck!
Oh, I think mine would be during the battle in Antarctica where Relina flies in between Heavy Arms and Tallgeese, and Zex would say, what the fuck?
Yeah, mine was actually also in that scene, but it would have just been like a very quiet fuck as Hero just kind of face plants onto the ice.
Yeah, that's really good too.
After he tumbles out, that's good.
Or give it to Relina. Hero, I want you to fucking kill this man.
Yes!
That's good. I love that.
Good. In the very beginning of the show, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
They said
or Duo saying, I'm the fucking god of death.
Yeah.
God. I mean, there's so many places.
There's a lot of really good places for it.
Danny asks, who in the Wing cast would win in Amogus?
Katra Rababa winner.
Yeah! That earnest heart. People think he can't lie.
Exactly. People would look at him and he would do puppy dog eyes and they would crack. Or if they were not in separate rooms, if they were on voice chat, they would just listen to his tone of voice and Hiro would be like, I think he's telling the truth, guys.
Hero would be so bad in Among Us. Oh my god. Very sus. Used Gundam Salesman asks, Gundam Wing showcases the boys playing basketball and playing musical instruments. What hobbies does each Wing character pick up now that war is over forever?
Ball.
Hero's into taxidermy.
They're all just ball.
Oh god.
Well, I mean,
he just makes dogs. Ugh!
Oh, we know Troas hangs out in the circus.
I was
That's
going
a hobby,
for a stuffed animal joke because of the teddy bears, but you know.
Oh yeah.
Duo's hobby is scrapbooking. He can't get away from junk.
Duo has like a very successful Etsy store where he makes like air sculptures out of the junk he finds.
Yes.
I think Katra. Katra becomes a streamer, but he's really good at like 4X games and Civ and, you know, shit that requires being an intelligent leader.
Wu Fei takes up like leading yoga and Zumba classes because it is a way for him to like work out his anger, but it's also like benefiting other people and it's not harmful.
Mm-hmm.
According to what we understand of Wu Fei's character, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I dig it.
14-year-old Zumba instructor.
Hell yeah.
Divorced.
Trey's would learn about board games and lose his fucking mind.
Oh my god.
Trey's would be a forever DM for a party of D&D, including Zex, Noin, Lady Un, and Sally. By extension.
Yeah, that's good.
You just described a polycule D&D group.
Yeah, well, Gundam loves a good
smiling
polycule.
and nodding. Seems right for them.
Yep.
Let's see. Cass asks, who in Wing has the best fit? It's fucking Noin. That cowboy outfit, you kidding me?
It's 100% Noin, and
so
there's like
sorry,
multiple.
But you're both wrong. It's Duo in Endless Waltz. The red shirt, the leather jacket, the black pants. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty good,
it's
but it's not a cowboy outfit.
Fit. I don't know.
Maybe if it was like Father Dio outfit again, I would be more into it. But I think it's still 9.
Mm-hmm. 2-1 outnumbered. Very sorry.
outnumbered.
All right. Machina has assembled some sort of excerpts from Frozen Teardrop for. I haven't read these. I'm gonna read these aloud for us to hear and react to live on air.
Okay.
Mars gets colonized.
Great.
That tracks.
Yeah.
That's happened in UC Gundam, and we know that they were terraforming Mars. Pretty normal.
Yep.
Duo becomes a drunk, abusive father.
Unfortunately, I knew this.
I'm glad I didn't read Frozen Teardrop.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember if they rationalize why the fuck this happened, but like he marries Hildy, which hey, that fucking rules. And then
that's
rules.
Very good.
And then
how did it get so bad?
And then he becomes a priest, and she's like a nun, and then their shit falls apart, and he just turns into an asshole.
Well, it's because they involve the Catholic Church. That explains it.
Yeah, probably.
Duo has a son that he named Duo Maxwell.
This is funny as hell.
Duo Maxwell, you were named after the bravest man I know.
No, Duo Maxwell.
It's essentially.
Does he call him Duo Junior or Duo the Second?
That I don't remember.
Duo.
Yeah.
Duo. This is like a fucking Pokemon. Hero is a clone, and there are 2 hero clones, Alpha and Beta. What the fuck?
I don't want to talk about it.
I think Frozen Teardrop sucks ass.
This might
I
suck.
think Frozen Teardrop's
might be
fucking
bad.
insane. Yeah.
Wu Fei gets an Epion that he names Nataku.
I mean,
Okay,
shocker.
you can't name every fucking robot after your dead wife, dude. Get over it.
It's the only woman he respects, dude.
I hate him. Jesus fucking Christ. Nano machines are used to keep Martians from rebelling against Relina. I love Metal Gear Rising.
God.
Oh,
College ball!
they got the vaccine that people in this world think they're getting.
Yeah, they got the fucking Bill Gates Microsoft vaccine up in Mars. Jesus Christ. Trey.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
Trey's downloading his brain into Hero's brain.
Wait. Huh?
It's so much worse than you could have imagined.
Why does it do these things?
Read it and
the
find
teardrop
out.
may be frozen, but mine are very liquid.
God damn it. I need to see if I have that in my like box set. 'Cause I may have to.
I gotta say, yeah, of all of the
It's
things,
a manga though.
this is-
It's all yeah.
Yeah, you would have to
Okay.
find it online. But of all the insane shit you're hearing, it might pique your interest to go check out Frozen Teardrop because it's fucking wild.
This last one is making me want to jump out my fucking window. Hero's letter at the end of Wing is proposal for marriage to Relina that reads, "Your sight, my delight. Will you marry me?"
Why?
I would say go fuck yourself.
I mean, she ripped it up. She
Yeah.
probably read it
Yeah,
first, and that's
true.
why she ripped it.
She's like, fuck this.
This sucks. Fuck Frozen Teardrop. I'm glad I didn't read that shit.
God.
Lord. Okay. Excuse me. Colin asks, thank you, Machina. Good God. The Wing fandom is the strongest in the world for making all the main characters actually appear on screen together. How would you make the show anywhere near as good as all the people shipping it when I was 12 made it seem?
Ground up rework. Like, that's the only real answer.
You can.
Yeah.
So start off with a plot bible. And also,
really,
don't
honestly.
change production teams halfway through.
Uh-huh. Make it so that Operation Meteor was actually, like, the boys knew each other beforehand and then get split up, so they have to make their way back together to find each other, maybe?
And then have
And
them
their friends?
continue working together throughout the series, because I know we get moments where a couple of them are together at once, and those are pretty fucking fleeting. It's usually like one or two of them together and
Yep.
nothing more than that.
I would love some more established chemistry between them too.
Yeah.
And like Max was saying, like having them know each other and be part of Operation Meteor beforehand would kind of give us that into that relationship
The
too.
second best
Yeah.
way, because all of Gundam Wing takes place roughly over the course of a year.
God.
The second best way is downtime scenes. We get a couple of them with Hiro and Troa, and I think that's really it. Maybe like one with Hiro and Duo towards the beginning where they don't know each other at all, so it's not really worth anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like towards the end of Wing when we see them all with like Wu Fei fucking floating around or doing his like fucking forearm stretches and everyone else talking, like taking bets on what's gonna happen, shit like that. Like giving them moments where they're not in the heat of battle, and when they are in the heat of battle working together, we get maybe 2 sequences of that, and it's when Contra is leading them, because if he didn't, they would have been dead.
It's just a problem so like baked into the show that it's like can't really be fixed.
Yeah.
Elvier asks, who would fail the hardest if they had to fill in another character's "How well do you know me?" Facebook quiz? I swear I remember these boys being friends, but they barely know each other by the end of the show. Honestly, I think everyone could pass except for Hero.
I honestly believe that Duo would probably get Wu Fei's the most wrong, just overall, like on principle.
Okay.
Because those 2 characters don't connect in any way, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, we know Catra gets everything 100% correct.
Yes.
He is Spider-Man behind the desk
knows.
meme. Like, he does know everything
about that.
Catra knows middle names, birthdays, like, he's got their social security number.
Yeah, he knows their last 4, exactly. But yeah, Hero doesn't know fuck all. Hero's like, Hero gets a 0 on, like, how well do you know Relina's Facebook quiz.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Danny asks, do you think Relina Cross Dorothy could have blown up as a ship if Wing came out today?
I'm glad it didn't, and I hope it never does.
I don't think Dorothy needs anyone else. I think Dorothy is like... I think Dorothy needs a hobby.
That's fair. I don't think Dorothy needs a relationship. To answer the question more directly, I think it would have been a more popular ship if this was a more modern program. I don't think it should be, though.
Yeah, it's like there are more interesting ships than Dorothy Cross Relina, I think. Like, I feel like if this was made today, it would be like Trace and Zex would be maybe the biggest one.
Oh, for sure. And it was certainly already a very big one.
Yeah. Wow, it's almost as if characters who have a very intimate amount of screen time together, there's more to discuss.
I think there would probably be a more, like, wild amount of just, like, characters who never interacted that would be shipped. Like, far more than there were in the past. Because a lot of it, at the time, seemed, and from what I have seen, is just, like, based on on-screen chemistry. Like, there's a lot of really obvious stuff, like Hiro and Duo, Catra and Troa, like...
Yeah, and there's a lot of fandom stuff nowadays that just says, fuck it, and they're just pushing characters together that...
wild, because that used to be the case back in the day, too, like... There are old
history repeats itself.
There are old-ass, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Shippers and stuff like that who would just mash 2 characters who never talk to each other together, and they have their own specific ship name, even, but it's like...
Yep.
For some reason, the Gundam Wing fans in the U.S. and, well, particularly in the U.S., I believe, were just like, oh, the ones that I saw on screen together, yeah, that's fine.
Yep. Which is why I'm going to ship Cans and Dr. J. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I ship Cans and Septum, coward.
Call that Jans.
Ugh. I refuse.
Let's see. Peter asks, Wing doesn't like to commit to main character deaths, excluding one notable exception. Thematically, who do you think should have stayed dead?
Lady Un.
Honestly, like, I know, she didn't need to come back.
I know she starts the Preventers, but Sally or Noin could have done that without her.
They could have done it. There's actually a couple.
There's no real reason for the Wing Gundam to get, like, destroyed in a last shooting style moment in the show.
Yeah. Like, she did need to knock him out of the way. Trace could have just dodged at the last minute and be like, I knew you'd fucking fire on me, asshole. I'm gonna fight you now.
It could have been so much more tragic if Trace died and then Un's heart stopped. Like...
Oh, fuck!
Yeah. So...
My heart stopped hearing that.
Sorry. I've been sitting on that for a while.
I also think Zex should not have come back for...
No.
Like, that made his, like, quote-unquote sacrifice, like, what was the... What? Why?
Yeah.
There's no weight to that scene now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's because he's a Char is why he came back, but, like, when Hero and Zex battle, like, by sparing him, somehow that inadvertently ends up killing him instead. Like, that Hiro has to live with killing Relina's brother. I think that could have been much more pivotal,
Absolutely.
too. Another meaty question from Jojo F's. Contemporaries Wing and Metal Gear have a number of thematic similarities, primarily the automation of war and the Wu Fei/Big Boss narrative about the forgotten soldier carrying on a meaningless fight after crushing themselves into the mold of their defeated foe, Treize and the Boss, aka the Joy. What's the hidden common literary source or cocktail of sources we are likely missing that brought us both?
I could not tell you. I am not equipped for this question. This is a really good question, but I am not prepared to answer it.
I want to say that, I mean, again, proliferation of war and everything. Desert Storm happened a couple years before they made Wing. Like, I feel like it's a lot of it with Metal Gear, and Metal Gear was like really early 90s, I think, on the MSX, but like Metal Gear, Colonel. Honestly, I feel like the biggest thing is just like that hopelessness when you see like wars happening, and just like you can like look at the world and just you can tell, you know, that shit's never necessarily going to be good.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, hell, it's February 2nd, 2022, and like we're reading headlines about US sending troops to the Ukraine, and it's just like,
God.
It's like that feeling of like, beans, you know? It's sad and it fucking sucks, and people write stories about the things that make them feel strongly about things, and you know, it very much is just like this is how the world goes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's necessarily a literary source. I think it is very much a reflection of the climate, the socio-political climate that the world is in at that moment in time.
And I think that
turns out
Gundam.
Humans love war.
Yeah. I think that's just Gundam as a whole. That was exactly what Tomino was doing with the original 0079. It continues. It frankly gets more apparent as the time goes on.
Do you mean to say the war's bad?
Yeah, I would definitely
that.
argue
Fucked up, if true. Let's get into some lighter questions now.
Sure.
Phoenix asks, what kind of sauce would you put on the Gundam wing?
Mango habanero.
Shit, I was gonna say mango habanero!
It needs something that would be tasty. You get that mango in there, you're getting a nice, flavorful bite, and then it explodes on you.
Yeah. What you thinking, Jules?
I genuinely don't know.
Okay, well, I'm giving you regular buffalo sauce, and then you can.
That's exactly
when we get to
thinking.
the restaurant, you can change your order.
I'm gonna put pesto. I want pesto on that wing.
Yo, pesto wing. All right, fuck
Hang on.
yeah. You get the fucking wing fenice from Bill Dyer. It's all
Okay,
for
we
some
got
reason. Z asks, what mobile suit would be the best shape for a chicken nugget?
I think Sandrock. That is my personal take. Sandrock has...
Would if you mean like the little flares on his shoulders were just nuggets you could pull off and munch on? Or the Tragos. It's just kind of a big lump.
That's true.
Steven asks, if you could put wings on a Gundam, which one and what kind of wings?
Oh my god, man.
I saw on the Gun Plus subreddit, someone put the Wing Zero Endless Waltz wings on the Suzabi, and it looked quite silly.
Yeah.
I'm putting the Endless Waltz wings on the Ares.
Oh, Angel Ares. I'm only putting one on it, so it's fucking Sephiroth.
I'm saluting.
People
it.
have done that with a Leo, I've seen.
Hell yeah.
It's very, very
one-winged
good.
Ares.
The Leo Flugel. I don't know. I have a hard time with this question. I think I would put, like, I know they're not really wings, but like the Gundam Dynamese like shield plates, where they're these like
Yeah.
It's really similar to like the Death Scythe Hell's active cloak. I think I would like to put those on something like Heavy Arms. So it's like this really heavy shielded, and then when it opens up to go like full burst, it really opens up because it is like, okay, guard down, it's my time to attack. I think that would be what I would do.
Hell yeah. Mitch asks, what's your favorite order at Buffalo Wild Wings?
Mango habanero.
Yeah.
Are you
Thai
surprised?
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, no, mango habanero is good for me. I mean, again, you gotta go boneless, though. I don't give a shit if it's reconstituted. I don't want to have to eat around a bone.
That's fine.
Just
At B-dubs, it's absolutely boneless. Anywhere else, I like eating regular wings. But
with B-dubs, you know what you're getting into.
it's garbage nonetheless.
Let's not beat around the bush here. This one's an easy one. Danny asks, out of the grunt suits, what was your favorite? For me, it's the Ares.
Space Leo.
Big, same.
Space Leo, baby.
Space Leo.
What if it was
Get that
purple?
What if it was purple? John asks, on grunt suits, what do you think... I'm sorry. On grunt suits, do you think Wing would have benefited from more frequent designs like Zeta? And I want to say no, just because I really do feel like Wing benefited from not overloading us with all these different designs, because it really didn't focus on the suits, right? You get like the technology behind the suits more than the suits themselves.
I half agree. I think it would have been better if instead of, like Enemy of the Week, like the previous series had done, or multiple series have done, if Oz had had a better foundation just in general. Like if there were more stuff like the Aries and the Pisces. I like the Taurus, but like the Taurus is a pretty straight line from that to the Leo. The Pisces is a little bit more interesting, and the Aries is so cool. Like, it's so stylish. And if they would have leaned more into that, like more specialized or like more specific uses, something along those lines, and just had that as the foundation, I think Leos would wear people out a lot less, because you'd see other interesting suits in the mix more often. And then, like, the natural evolution to the Taurus, the Virgo, and all of that would, like, make sense, because then we are building on that stronger foundation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, like, we don't... As much as I love to say Wow Cool Robot, we don't need it to just a constant stream of Wow Cool Robot, because when you don't have that stream, you can appreciate what you do have.
Right.
Colin asks, what if Oz was the Chinese zodiac instead of the European zodiac?
We might have gotten some cooler suits out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have the dragon, and that's just Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
What if there was this mobile suit that was the horse? Oh, wait, watch G Gundam.
I mean, on principle.
I do need
I want a pig suit.
Yeah, I was just thinking like the pig, or like a boar suit, or a rat suit, like a smaller mobile suit. That's one thing we really didn't get any of in this series.
Yeah,
I
it's like size variations.
Yeah, I really like when they're like the dots. I think they were in 0079, and like some of just like the smaller craft. I think they have the potential to be interesting, and everyone loves the ball from 0079. So like you could do something silly, and it could be like small and minor and not super important, but it'd be fun to see.
I want to see a problematic height gap. Exactly. Cryos asks, Cryo, how y'all feel about the Oz Prize Leos? This is pretty far down our mailbag in the actual channel, but they've posted the Leos, the Leon, and the Leor, I believe that they're called.
Yeah.
These are from G-Unit, I think? No. Some fucking Gundam side story. They're like tricked out Leos. The Leos is like the Leo with the fucking gold trim on like the flintlock beam it has, and it has like the cape.
Right.
There's like a big chunky gold one with like the giant Virgo like half dome armor. And then you got what if a Leo was a girl?
I like the color schemes of all of them quite a bit, and I do love a good laser lance, but I think the Leo S is the standout. Like the red and gold and the fucking
it has
cape.
a cape. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm with you. The color schemes are cool, but like, and while they do, it's cool that they're like very specialized Leos. It's just like, it's a bit much. The cape makes sense at least, and the big chunky Leo does make sense as well. The girl Leo is just like, why does it need hair? I mean, the Nobel Gundam existed because it was G Gundam and it was weird on purpose, but like,
yeah,
a bit much. Really pretty colors go.
Yeah.
Drescher asks, have you ever met people who straight up thought Wing was the first Gundam series?
Probably one or two. Yeah. Like, just being very frank, I'm sure. I'm almost certain I have at least one or two people that I know still to this day that would probably, if I was like, hey, I did a thing about Gundam, and they would be like, oh, cool, like the one on Toonami.
Yeah, there are probably people who think that Wing is the only Gundam series. They just think it's called Gundam Wing. They don't realize that Gundam is the prefix, right?
Yeah.
Or that Wing is the suffix, I suppose. Again, and that's like what we were talking about, how it's just like, it's a standalone show, and it's good for that. I'm glad it is. Sarah asks, how would you rewrite Wing to make it good? I wouldn't, because it can't be done.
It's, again, it would have to be like a full ground up overhaul. Like you would have to start just completely fresh. And I think one of the best things that you could do is try to make it move further away from the original Gundam. So Operation Meteor, keep that. I think that's very crucial to what Gundam Wing is and becomes. But like, get rid of the Char's counterattack at the end of the show. Give the boys more screen time. Give them way more chemistry. And maybe redesign the Gundams a little bit. And I think one of the other things that could really benefit from that is give the Sandrock Kai and the like Heavy Arms Kai, like give them an actual like upgrade.
Give them a design. Yes.
Yeah. I think those are probably some of the bigger things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ours asks, if Wing is good, what is good? If Wing is not good, am I good? And if not now, and in the 90s?
Wing is fine and War is bad.
So true, bestie. Goblin Boy asks, what does each of the Wing Boys For You page on TikTok look like?
Oh, God.
Katra's is all like leftists, like talking about politics and trying to have like open conversations and stuff. Wu Fei's is all thirst traps. Duo's is also all thirst traps. Sorry, but it's true.
I'm nodding.
Heroes would be all like puppies and kitten videos. Like that one's for sure. And Troa would be weird clown shit.
It would be, Troa's like in clown girl honk heaven over here.
Shut up.
Shaunen asks, on a scale from 1 to 0079, how close to the original show is it? AKA how Gundam is Wing?
It's 00. That's what it is.
It's turn A. It's enough. It's as much like Gundam to the point that I don't want it to be that close to Gundam.
I think it's closer to
my answer,
0079 than it is to Zeta or Double Zeta.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then it gets too close to Char's counterattack.
A little too close for comfort, yeah.
A little too close for comfort. Z asks, what is the definitive worst bird?
I don't know. I fucking hate killdeer. Like, that's just a personal... like, that's just a bird that I fucking hate to see.
Oh, that's a cute bird. It's a plover. For my money, it's the fucking bald eagle. Fuck that thing.
Trash bird.
Piece of shit. Yeah. Ben Franklin was right. It should have been a turkey.
Gobble gobble, motherfucker.
I mean, my favorite bird is the turkey vulture, which is half of a turkey.
I saw one of those the other day.
They're big.
Doing a job.
Yeah.
It's important.
They smell so well. The birds themselves, their sense of smell is really good.
Yes.
We don't know how they smell. We don't. Yeah, they pee on themselves to cool themselves down. Anyway, I guess for the interest of time, this will be the last question because we might spend a little bit of time on it. So near the very bottom of the mailbag, Phoenix has asked us, has presented us with a chart of who says fuck and with what frequency the character says fuck. And we can answer this, I think.
Duo says fuck very sparingly and looks around anytime he does.
I mean, he's like between the first two categories, right? I think Duo can go in the has sworn off saying fuck, but has said it at some point category.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hero and Dorothy regularly say fuck, for sure.
Say fuck.
Like Dorothy, I think says fuck more than any other character in the show, for my money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a new, new habit. I think Katra legally cannot say fuck.
No, Katra. If Katra said fuck, something bad would happen. He can't. It's like not even legally. He physiologically cannot say fuck.
Yeah.
I think Wu Fei's in the middle. He hasn't said fuck, but he could say fuck if he wanted to.
Yeah. Dr. J has sworn off saying fuck.
I guess he kind of speaks for the whole Gundam team.
Milliardo Peacecraft,
or the scientist
Milliardo
team.
Specifically has not said fuck before and refuses to say it. Zex on the other hand. Zex on the other hand.
Yes.
I think Trey's has sworn off saying fuck, but he's said it before. Maybe in his more brash years.
Lady Un says fuck regularly.
Lady Un says fuck regularly. Let's put Lady Un and Sally and Noin all in the regularly says fuck category because I like them. Marimea, I think she legally can't say fuck.
Yeah,
She's
no,
too young. She's 7.
too
You
young.
shouldn't be 7-year-olds shouldn't say fuck. This is the stance I'm taking on this show. Are we missing anyone? Any blind spots
I
here?
mean, probably a couple.
She like
but
says
we
a
got all
swear, and then everyone just like stares at her until
okay.
she apologizes.
Most important of all, Howard. What do you think?
Who?
Howard.
Oh, Howard. Howard?
I don't think he does. I think he says just like not attempting to like not swear, but he just has funny little sayings instead.
Yeah,
Howard curses like the fucking teacher in Danny Phantom curses.
absolutely.
He's like, "Oh, Moby Dick." I mean, that one's less of a good example, but
That's
yeah,
a
no,
pretty good
Howard's like a
example.
fucking Howard's Mr. Lancer. Like, oh, Pride and Prejudice, and the one fucking piece of million gets shot. Oh God. Well, damn. This is a 2-hour podcast as of right now.
Yeah.
And I think in the interest of all of us getting to bed at a reasonable hour, that's probably where we're going to cut it. Again, big apologies to everyone whose questions we didn't get to. We'll talk about them in Discord. Bring them up to us. We'll answer them. We're always active. This mailbag was so fucking gargantuan. I love everyone for submitting so much to it.
Thank you all so much.
We're just 3 people. We don't have 18-meter tall nuclear powered death machines.
I
God,
may be
if only.
6'3", but I am just a little guy. Like,
I'm the clickhole headline. I'm willing to reconsider my anti-war views for Gundam. And that'll take us to the end of Wing.
Wow, we did it.
We fucking did it again. I mean, this is a really fun time. I had such a blast recording this with y'all.
mhm.
100%.
I'm very glad I'm the team I assembled for this. I'm very, very glad that it was you two, because I feel like this is a wonderful cast we put together for
Well,
this show.
Thank you. I'm just very grateful that I could be here.
I've had a blast. It was my baby's first podcast, so
And now you're going to start
You did
several more.
Could have fooled me, Julia. You did such a good job. I guess that'll bring us into plugs as we kind of close out this one.
Sure. I'll kick us off. My name's Jared or Jay. You can find me at Pagliacci ProtoJ on Twitter. Meet me in the Discord if you want to chat.
I've been Julia. You can, as always, find me mostly on Twitter, where I have most recently retweeted a very cute deer persona at the Crown Jewels, JULES with 2 underscores. That's where I live.
That's where you live. And I'm Max. You can find me on Twitter, Maxi Bajillion. You can listen to my other podcasts. There's Pot of Greed about Yu-Gi-Oh! There's Slappers Only about video game music, and there's Nevermind the Trollocs, and which is the final episode will come out like a week or 2 maybe after this comes out. But like, we're done. We've recorded that one now, and we'll be back when season 2 of Wheel of Time comes out. And this show can be found on Twitter at Nevermind. No. This show can be found on Twitter at Podcast.
Sorry.
You can go to the Discord links in the episode descriptions or the Twitter header to hang out with us and ask us questions. You can go to noisepace.xyz to find this and many, many more podcasts. My poor wires are so crossed. And Julia,
Yes.
what's the robot of the week?
Fuck, I was hoping we weren't gonna do that this time.
One last time.
Hope in vain.
It's the Aries. I wanted it to be
Yay!
higher.
Hell yeah.
It's just a good friend.
It's cool. Top Gun. We love it.
Nice.
Well, thank you all for tuning in, Julia and Jared. Thank you for co-hosting.
Hell yeah. Thank you for having us.
It was a blast. I had so much fun with it. And as I lock you two in your little Gundam sleepy time pods and rocket you towards the sun, I'm gonna head to Mars because I gotta get a fucking Matrix port installed in the base of my spine.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. This podcast will continue like an endless waltz.
The 3 beats of recording, editing, and posting. Hey, I almost forgot to say it, but I didn't. What do we always say at the end of this show? War is bad.
Wow.
Cool robot.
Bye.
Bye.
After Colony, goodbye
Bye
forever.
You'll
Hero
never
Yui.
hear my dumbass voice again.
Mine either.
I can still hear her to this day until I get you to
fair
guess on a
enough.
different podcast.
It'll happen.
You have the taste for it now. It's
Yeah.
it's in you. All right, Peach. Bye, everyone.
Bye.